The newest chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex just leaked, and there's so much to talk about, including Boruto versus Mitsuki and a huge potential reveal. This is the first of hopefully many chapter reviews I do, but in the future I probably will wait till the chapter is released and do a much longer review and just do a shorter update when there are spoilers. But in this chapter, there's so many moments I want to talk about, it's probably going to be a full review. We'll just see if I can get through all of it. But before I get into it, if you like the video, please take a second to give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Alright, let's get into it. Like I said before, there are so many moments in this chapter that I want to talk about, but up top, I just want to point out how nuanced the chapter is. So as we're discussing some of the things that Boruto says to Mitsuki and Shikamaru, it's really important to keep the context in mind, because there have been so many times that the actual translation has given a slightly different result. Unfortunately, my Japanese still isn't at a point where I trust my own translations to give us the usage and nuance over other translators. I'm actually working really hard on it, and hopefully I'll be there soon. Coming back to the chapter, at first glance, what we get here appears to be a battle chapter, and Kishimoto and Ikimoto do such a good job of giving us what we wanted here. But the real juice in the chapter is actually the emotional depth that we get out of Boruto. Everything about this chapter is so incredibly heartbreaking. So let me start breaking down the first moments of the chapter. We get Mitsuki in what appears to be an introspective flashback aimed at his feelings for Kawaki. Suddenly, he's going headfirst into a battle with Boruto, and man does this fight go off. First off, we see Mitsuki charge Boruto in Sage Mode. Boruto throws out two shuriken, one hits one of Mitsuki's chakra snakes. As Mitsuki charges at Boruto, suddenly Boruto teleports to the other shuriken, which is in a tree behind Mitsuki. Boruto asks where Kawaki is, and Mitsuki tells him he came on his own. Then Shikamaru explains that Mitsuki knocked Kawaki out with snake venom so that Boruto wouldn't be able to detect him, and that Mitsuki's acting of his own accord. Mitsuki then point blank does the job of every anime YouTuber by confirming what I said in my last video, and frankly what we've all been thinking, which is that Boruto is in a league of his own power-wise. But it should be noted that even in Mitsuki's casual moment of power scaling Boruto for the audience, he says the current Kawaki is no match for you. This is yet another reminder of how Boruto and Kawaki parallel Sasuke and Naruto respectively. At the start of the Naruto post-time skip, I'm going to call it Shippuden for the sake of this discussion, even if I'm talking about the manga. But early on in Shippuden, we get the sense that Sasuke has gotten strong to the point where he's well beyond Naruto. Then over the course of several power creeps, they even out, and by the end of Shippuden, Naruto has taken the edge. Back to the chapter, Mitsuki tells Boruto that he plans to go all out and then unleashes shadow clones. Well, technically snake clones, but what a beautiful way of showing the influence of Boruto on Mitsuki's fighting style. Mitsuki misses Boruto and he doesn't even realize it. Then Boruto actually chastises Mitsuki for using so many shadow clones and says that it's bad for the environment, which might clue us into actually how Sasuke feels about Naruto's fighting style. And also is an answer for a lot of people online who've been asking,
how come Boruto hasn't used shadow clones? Oh, where are the shadow clones?
Then Boruto says the coldest line to Mitsuki. There's no time to play, you know, before flying down, adding lightning release to his sword, and hacking each of Mitsuki's clones effortlessly. He is moving so fast in base that Mitsuki, in Sage Mode, has to say, "Stop moving, you monster!" and Boruto's weaving hand signs as he's moving. Then Mitsuki unleashes his most powerful snake lightning attack, only for Boruto to completely nullify it with lightning release thunderclap arrow. This is a perfect nod to Boruto and Mitsuki's relationship, and like I mentioned in my theory video about Boruto having insane jutsus including possibly invisibility, which you should definitely check out, Boruto uses an old jutsu that Mitsuki would have definitely been familiar with. He's leaving Easter eggs on purpose, and then, just as quickly as it started, the fight is over. Or so it seems, with Boruto holding a sword to Mitsuki's neck. Boruto explains that Mitsuki is in despair and that he's been reckless. Then they talk, and Boruto reveals that Kawaki isn't Mitsuki's son, and that Boruto is actually the son to Mitsuki's moon. And that Mitsuki should have already realized it. Then Boruto reveals that Naruto and Hinata are alive, and he does his best to abstain from telling Mitsuki who he really is, but now Shikamaru, who is still in Mind Transmission connection, knows the truth, And then comes the saddest moment of the chapter. Boruto turns to Mitsuki and says, Mitsuki, you were always able to shine on your own from the very beginning. I really believe that. But if you insist that you need a son no matter what, come visit me anytime. And it's at this moment that I realized that Boruto definitely felt Mitsuki's tracking snake on him in the last chapter. He knew that Mitsuki was following him and he left it on. He's going to continue to leave it on because he just wants his friend to be able to reach him. There's something more significant here about Boruto telling Mitsuki that he can visit anytime he wants, which is that we haven't seen Boruto give Sarada or Sumire that okay. We haven't seen him give them the access that he's giving Mitsuki right now, which could say something about how close he is to Mitsuki, but it could also say something about how much he needs Mitsuki. Look, all I'm going to say, I'm not trying to ship Boruto and Mitsuki necessarily, you know, BoruMitsu. I haven't even seen that kind of shipping online, but if you've read Naruto Shinden, Parent and Child Day, Chapter 2, there's a moment where Hinata is freaking out a little bit privately to Hanabi and Hiyashi about the kind of underwear Boruto's buying, so I'm just gonna put that out there, but anyway, let's move on. Then Boruto straight up tells Shikamaru that there's absolutely nothing he can do to fix the Omnipotence, and that Shikamaru has actually heard this spiel before, and his memory just wiped it out, and that Boruto doesn't even care about the Omnipotence, and that he actually planned for it. He planned for being an outcast from the start. I think what we're seeing here is Boruto coming to grips with godhood. Boruto is somehow encapsulating the tragic stories of Sasuke, Naruto, and Itachi all into one tragic hero. And really quickly, I want to say that the anime does an incredibly good job of giving perspective on Boruto's perspective here. When Boruto was coming out of the academy, it was almost a foregone conclusion that he would be on the Hokage track. This is entirely driven by the fact that he finished at the top of the charts on basically everything, and that Naruto, his father, was the Hokage. But the frustrating element of Boruto's angsty upbringing is that Boruto doesn't want any of that. All Boruto wants, more than anything in the world, is quality time with his dad, his family, and his friends. And he's at the age where he doesn't necessarily know how to handle it either. He feels rejected by his dad, so he takes it out on him. Post-time skip Naruto calls himself a brat, but that's not really it. He's a kid that feels rejected, so he does the first thing that any kid that feels rejected would do. He rejects his dad right back. But it only makes it worse then, that Boruto is a child prodigy like we've never seen. He's so good as an academy student that Kakashi says that he's better than a Chunin. For reference, Sakura, Hinata, Shikamaru, everyone except for Naruto is all at a Chunin level during the Pain arc. And Boruto in the academy could give any of them a run for their money because he's that brilliant. But all he wants to do is be with his friends, to help them. The anime has this strange episode where Boruto plans a fishing trip for his friends as they graduate from the academy. The episode revolves around Boruto worrying that as each of the classmates choose a different path, that everyone will over time lose their memories of the moments they've had together. In the episode, Boruto, being so worried that they would all drift apart if they didn't share one lifelong memory, teams up with Sarada and Sumire and eventually the whole gang to catch a fish. But there's a weird melancholy to Boruto's character that the other characters point out during the episode. It's so different from the tone of Naruto when his class graduated. That was the beginning of the end of Naruto's isolation. In the academy, Naruto was all alone, but as soon as he became a genin, slowly more and more people befriended him, and then more and more people acknowledged him. The moments built up. Boruto's journey is the depressing opposite. There are no cutaways to the kid on the swing set for Boruto. The kid that's all alone is Boruto right now, but there is no swing set, just his uncle in a tree with the knowledge that something is coming for everyone who he loves. And Boruto clearly knows something that we don't. He clearly knows what's coming, and it's probably about to get so much worse for these friends and family of his that he wants to be with. I want to point out one more concerning fact that we have to take into account as the chapter progresses. Mitsuki is in a state of despair, and yes, he's power scaled Boruto way above Kawaki, but I don't think Mitsuki is above Kawaki. And this is important because Mitsuki is now officially in Kawaki's crosshairs. When Mitsuki goes back to the village, he's going to be in extreme danger because Kawaki, Eida, and Damon all know what Mitsuki did, and Kawaki has to assume that if Mitsuki comes back relatively unscathed while Boruto is still running around, then something fishy must be going on. And finally, the chapter ends on Jura reading a book and talking to Hidari, contemplating his own ignorance, before asking, "Shall I go meet him? Uzumaki Naruto?" I think that gives us our answer on how these Shinju plan to handle their respective attacks. Each of them are going for their targets one by one, but what we still don't know is how much of these approaches are going to be aggressive or if this is going to be a curve in some kind of way. But what do you think? Do you think Mitsuki is on Team Boruto now? Do you think Jura will succeed in capturing and devouring Naruto? Or will he change his ways? Or will Kawaki intervene? How strong do you think Boruto is in relation to Kawaki? Is he stronger than the Shinju one-on-one? Is he stronger than multiple Shinju? Definitely let me know what you're thinking in the comments, and if you like the video, please shoot me a like and subscribe to the channel. Toodles!